Hi friends, Minuk here. Today I want to give you my thoughts on the well-loved HIMI Jelly Gouache and do a little paint with me piece. First things first, I filmed a little unboxing back when I got the paints about half a year ago. The set I got from Amazon contains 24 colors in this beautiful case. I absolutely love the look of the case. The color is stunning. The set itself comes with 3 brushes, a palette, and 24 jelly cups containing 30 milliliters of paint. As far as I know, in Switzerland, where I'm located, there's no way to get the individual cups to refill the colors if they run out. So that's definitely one of the downsides of the set. Right when I opened the little containers up, I loved how nice and creamy the consistency of the paint is. The color selection is really lovely too. First thing I did was unpacking all of the colors and putting them in an order that made some kind of sense to me. I guess I would probably do it a bit differently now. Honestly, it doesn't really matter all that much to me. Removing the lid of the colors was definitely a messy business though, let me tell you. I was glad I put down some paper towels to clean my fingers in between. Otherwise, I would have for sure contaminated some of the colors right away. After I unboxed all of the colors, I went ahead and swatched the colors in my little swatching booklet. I don't use this booklet anymore, because I find having a swatch sheet more convenient nowadays, but this is just what I did half a year ago. Anyway, here is some footage of me swatching the colors so I could get an understanding of how they looked when dried. The colors are beautifully opaque and have a matte finish when they dry. I used the brush that came with the HIMI set for the swatching, and I gotta say, they're definitely not bad. Totally usable, and since the set is really cheap, there is absolutely no reason to complain. The only reason I don't use the brushes that often is that I prefer smaller sizes when painting. I also never use the HIMI provided palette. I prefer my own ceramic palette because it's a lot easier to clean in my opinion than a plastic one. And since I hate cleaning my palettes, having the easy option is my go-to for sure. So for today's piece, I decided to do a nighttime painting of Hogsmeade from the Harry Potter books or movies. I'm in no way on board with J.K. Rowling's recent escapades and don't want to associate with her at all. But honestly, I've been reading a hell of a lot Harry Potter fanfiction lately, and I've wanted to do a wintery Hogsmeade piece forever. While browsing Pinterest one day, I found a perfect reference picture, and I just had to go for it. So for this piece, I'm painting on the Canson Fluid Mixed Media paper and have a light pink underpainting I did with some old acrylic paints I had lying around. For the sketch, I always use my trusty Prismacolor Kohl Erase red pencil, which I just love with all my heart. I use it basically for all of my sketches. I have a blue sketching pencil too, but I definitely reach for the red one more often. And now on to picking the first couple of colors from the HIMI set. I decided to start with some yellows and oranges first, so I could start with the light in the windows. I always use a palette knife to pick the colors from the cups and put them on my palette to mix first, so I can close the case during the painting process. I had this set since half a year, and without much maintenance I managed to keep the colors pretty fresh and juicy that way. I didn't even open them up for the last 2 months, and they're still really wet and nice. The one thing you really have to take care of is to close the lid properly by pressing on all 4 sides. And I also removed the palette that came with the set, so I had an easier time closing the lid. Alright, back to the painting. I don't really have any rhyme or reason behind why I start with what I start in a painting. I just go for whatever I feel like in a moment, and in this case it was the windows. After painting all the windows with the various shades of yellow and orange and some browns, I moved on to the sky. For this, I probably should have made the sky either lighter or darker to get more contrast with the rest of the painting, but I can always try another version of the piece sometime. I never work on a piece in one go, so I'm really happy that the HIMI gouache can be reactivated with water. So I can easily let my mixed paints dry in my palette and revisit them on the next day and pick up right where I left off. I also prefer this because using acrylic gouache gives me major anxiety about mixing not enough or way too much color, and it drying too fast for me to get all the color on paper that I need. So another plus for the HIMI gouache set here. I did bring this set with me on vacation in the summer, and it was really perfect for that. It had just the right amount of colors I like to work with without it being overwhelming. And I didn't have to decide which colors to take individually, which I would have to do if I did take my gouache tubes instead. It is pretty heavy though, cause there's so much color in each cup, so maybe it's not optimal for traveling for some. I think this is everything I have to say about the HIMI gouache and my experiences I had using it so far. But I also reached out to you on Instagram and asked if you had any questions about it. So Becca LS asked, how do I not make it go muddy? For this, I'm definitely not the expert. I never had the problem of them turning out all that muddy before, but I think that's just because I'm not mixing them excessively. As far as I know, gouache turns muddy if you add too many different pigments. So try not to mix too many colors together, just the right amount you need to achieve your desired tone. Or better yet, only mix in one other color. Okay, and Malo Illustratrice, sorry if I'm butchering your username, asked, do you need to use it often to keep it usable? My answer to this would absolutely be no. As long as you do close the lid properly and keep it as airtight as possible. Like I said before, I didn't open my set for 2 months and they looked and behaved just the same as the last time I used them. But you can definitely go in occasionally and spray them with a bit of water to make sure they stay hydrated and don't dry out. I've heard other people on YouTube having issues with mold when doing this though, so be cautious. I've never had any mold issues, but it could depend on the climate you're in. But to add to that, you can also let them dry out and just reactivate them with water later. I've seen people do this and have great results still. I just prefer the creamy consistency of my jelly gouache, so I try to keep them nice and watery. Well, maybe not watery, but nice and creamy. Okay, so those have been all the questions I got, so I leave you to enjoy a bit more of me finishing the piece. Just a quick summary before I leave you to it. I would absolutely recommend the HIMI gouache, and I think it's especially a great option if you're just starting out with gouache or want to try it out. It's just unbeatable quality for the price, in my opinion. Please don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to my channel for more drawing and painting content. I would love to hear all about your opinions in the comments as well. Let's discuss. See you soon. Over and out. Thank you.